It's Mayowa on Dr. Sunday Adelaja, DSATV. How are you today? I hope you're okay. So who's going to join us today? You must have seen my title, which is Interview with Pastor Abraham Great. Abraham Great. That name alone, can you imagine? Abraham and Great. Whoa. Whoa. That's how I feel right now. I'm honored to be interviewing Pastor Abraham Great. How are you guys? How are you doing? So who's here with us? Lydia Olorunwa, thank you so much for joining. How are you? Euphoma, how are you? I miss you. We all miss you, Euphoma. How are you doing? Charles Smith, how are you? Julie, thank you. Theophilus, how are you? Jude, thank you. Salute to you too, Jude. Theophilus, how are you? I'm okay, thank you. Deborah Cole, good afternoon, ma. How are you? Even again. Chinwe, hello, Chinwe. How are you doing? It's nice to have you all with us today. We have Pastor Abraham Great, and we're going to have an interview. So, guys, you can send your questions. So, if you have any question that you want to ask Pastor Abraham Great, it might be a good opportunity to, because this is going to be a nice interview, just asking general question and tapping from his wisdom. That name, Abraham Great, can you imagine? I really want to know a little bit about that. So before I switch, I just want to say hello. And also, guys, can you please share this so that more people can join us and we can have as many people as possible for this session today. David, how are you? I hope you're okay. Oriyomi, thank you for joining. Samuel, how are you? Thank you. Daniel, how are you doing? It's nice to see. Well, it's nice that you're joining us. I almost say it's nice to see you because I can't see you. I feel like I can see you all. You guys are fantastic. I feel like I know everybody on here already. So I don't want to keep you waiting. It's Sunday. How was your Sunday? I don't ask about going to church because I don't go to church, but I fellowship with people. I fellowship with Dr. Sunday. So I don't ask about going to church because I don't believe that that's the only way to fellowship. As you know already, we've spoken about that many times, and we will do many more times to come. Hello, Anu, Michael, how are you? It's nice to see that you guys are joining us today. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Deborah Cole. Gosh, it takes a beautiful person to recognize another beautiful person. So without further ado, guys, I haven't seen anyone shared yet. Okay, actually, Deborah Cole shared with one person. Thank you so much. So, we are having Pastor Abraham Great.
You're such a presenter with laughter, with vigor, with it's like you've been at Days on TV, maybe Sky News or something. Well, I'm here with us. Take me where you want.
Hello, Pastor Abraham. How are you?
I am so glorious. It is working.
Good. So, guys, you've seen Pastor Abraham Great. He has also his own show, I think. I know, actually. He has his own show, so I'm just going to let him introduce himself and tell us about his Facebook show as well.
I can see some of my relic on already, like Deborah Cole and the rest of them. Well, I am Abraham Great. I couldn't imagine that even my wife could almost be tempted to call me Ibrahim, like most people would almost want to call that name Abraham as Ibrahim or Abraham. But I am Abraham Great, Abraham Adeshile Great. And I live in Milton Keynes. As you may want to know, I run a few programs live on Facebook. Every morning I do what we call Divine Motivation Network, where we pray in the Spirit for about an hour, praying over the nations, trusting God for the will of God to align with the will of on the earth. Aligning heaven with the earth. We do that, and people ask me questions, why do you speak in tongue publicly? I don't know if I can accurately answer that here, but number one reason is the fact that I was instructed to do it by God, leading me to Number two is that we are not speaking in tongues, although it appears that that's what we do every morning. We are praying in the Spirit. And there are two separate things that I might not be able to cover here. So the whole intent of that program or that show is to connect with God or to connect with heaven, to let him use our tongue, our mind, our mouth as a conduit for God to establish or to do what he wants to get done on the earth for that day. And then we then wait to receive from him, to hear from him. If God is giving us a word, fantastic. If he's not giving us a word, we leave the place, haven't left the sound that God wants us to leave on earth on that day. The next program that I do is Achievers Forum. Achievers Forum every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. and Wednesday and Thursday, 6:30 p.m., where I take people through the principles of what it is to be an achiever. So we've covered, several aspects of being an achiever. Like we've looked at 7 seals over destiny. We've looked at 4 different outcomes that your life can be, and now we're in the series of looking at world class mentality, the difference between the middle class and the world class. So I also do This New Nigeria, as some of us would know, every Tuesday, which I've put on hold for now because of several things on my table. So that's me in a nutshell. That's what I do.
Thank you. So what is your tag name or your name on Facebook, so that want to find you?
Okay, you can find me either from my personal page, which I use mostly, which is Abraham A. Great. And then you can also find me at Abraham Great Official, which is my fan page. Or you can find me through the church that I pastor, which is He Lives Bible Church, also on Facebook. He Lives Bible Church on Facebook. So I'm available all those platforms. Or on Twitter, like they say, is Abraham Great also on Twitter. On Instagram, Real Abraham Great. Yeah.
For that, I just want to get that out of the way so that people that don't know you, because we're on DSA platform and he's got quite a lot of followers, so they can start to follow you too, especially if they're interested in what we're saying now. So guys, I've already got one question from one of the audience, our avid follower, Theophilus. Thank you. I've seen your question and I would ask that question in a moment. So, but before I do, sir, so you came to Ukraine. Mm-hmm. You're here in Ukraine in Dr. Sunday's house. So tell us a little bit about that. I'm interested to know, and I'm sure the audience is interested to know. First, we'll start with why you're here. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, maybe you could tell us about your relationship with Dr. Sunday.
I was invited here by Pastor Louis, I think, with a conference insight conference that we had yesterday in the city of Kiev. So I was invited mainly as a speaker for that program. And why am I in Pastor Sunday's house? Because that's the only house I know in Ukraine. That's the only place, if I have to be here, this is where I come straight. No matter where I'm going, this is where I would normally be. And also that program, I wasn't sure if I was going to come, to be part of it or not as yet, until Pastor Sunday himself called me and said, "Oh, the people invited you haven't replied them," and I couldn't say no to him. So I had to call them to say, "Oh yeah, I'm in," because Pastor Sunday has called up to, for me to be there also. So that was a great one we had yesterday at the Insight Conference. Now, my relationship with Pastor Sunday Adelaja is been that of a mentorship, protege relationship that started a few years ago, where I had read Pastor Sunday's book. And after a while, in the middle of the night one day, God gave me a word concerning Nigeria. And this was the issue of most pastors and most clergies in Nigeria at the time were circulating something about Islamization of Nigeria. And I was perturbed by the documents that I read and the audios that I had listened to, that I bought into it. And I believed that there was an agenda to Islamize Nigeria. But I love prayer, like most of you would have seen on my platform. I love prayer. So I went into prayer for the first time since I'd left Nigeria. I've left Nigeria now 20 years, although I go there. I received that burden and I was almost crying for Nigeria. And one of those days in my prayer, the Lord said to me, "You are believing a lie." And it hit me. He said, "How am I believing a lie?" He said that Nigeria cannot be Islamized. And the Lord gave me a word. He said, "The light shines in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not." He said, "Go tell them that Nigeria cannot be Islamized." So I started saying things on Facebook and what have you, until the Lord told me to go and meet Pastor Sunday Adelaja. So I wrote Pastor Sunday Adelaja in the middle of the night, and like 5 or 10 minutes later, he replied me. This was like around 2 a.m. It was awesome. He's like, is he not sleeping? Is it just God that wants me to? But he replied me immediately. And that is how I bought a ticket. I came here with my wife, and Pastor Sunday just accentuated what I was talking about, blew my, the revelation God gave to me. Before I know it, he's pushed me to write more about it. Before I knew it, the now Vice President of Nigeria has read it. They've called, I was on the phone with him. Before I know it, it was sure that indeed God had connected us to do a few things. And the relationship has been evolving since then, learning from him, growing, in the things that I've been called to do.
This was only a few years ago?
This was just exactly 2 years ago.
Wow, that's interesting.
I met Pastor Sunday for the first time February 2015, just shortly before the Nigerian general election. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting that you mentioned that you wrote him in the middle of the night and he replied your email, right?
Yeah.
I believe. So where did you get his contact? Because it was quite accessible. Is he somebody that you knew before, or you just came across him on Facebook and you thought, let me write this person?
That is an intelligent question, because I had actually read, I said to you I read the book of Pastor Sunday. It had been years before, 4 or 5 years earlier to 2 years ago when I met him. And at that time, I'd also written him. I read him after I read Church Shift, I think, and but at the time, I believe it was not the right time because I couldn't come. I wrote him then, and I was directed to write his office. So I wrote his official email address at the time, and I was replied also. And he invited me to come to Ukraine, but I didn't take up that opportunity then in 2011, I think it was. But this time around in 2015, what I did was all the emails that I think I had for him, I copied them. And then I copied the same message that I've sent by email, I pasted it on Facebook. So I couldn't remember which one, but I just know that within a few minutes, I got a reply from Pastor Sunday directly himself. And he was so happy about the letter that I wrote. He was happy about the fact that I said God said I should come and see him. I think it was within a few weeks after then. We're already here in this house with my wife.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for the answer, because I just want to clarify it with people. If you've got any question, please, guys, send your question. And also, would you please share? I like a lot of people watching. So share. Don't tell anyone. Just share. Right. Another question that I want to ask you is that you said you wrote to him about Nigeria and, what's happening with Nigeria being Islamized, right? And because God told you that, this is not the case, light and dark, and, we're light. I am curious, because I've heard you spoke earlier today about writing to leaders, and you mentioned that a vice president of Nigeria saw that letter. Are you a writer? Because you mentioned you're different things, but are you a writer? Are you a politician? I know you have this. You've already said to us what you do on a weekly basis on Facebook, your programs that you have, but I also want to know if you're a writer, politician, because I've heard this is your second time. This one, first time was off camera. You said you've written to politicians and governors and this as well. Is this like your passion? Are you a politician? Are you a writer? Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I can say again, you're a very good presenter. He seems to be able to find a way to get what is necessary out of me. Now, the way I would answer that question this way, that your purpose in life is a data, like a SIM card with a data that God inserted inside of you, that you uncover not at once. You begin to uncover it day after day, time after time. Growing up, I developed the gift of music. So I first of all felt that my purpose was in music. So I thought I was called to be a musician. You know, mentioning music just tempts me now to want to to sing to you on this platform.
Oh, please.
She said, feel brief. So I enjoy writing songs. I write lots of songs. I write, music. I did an album, and I play instruments. So I'd always thought that my purpose lies within there. But before I was born, my father had 3 children that were all girls. He had twins and, our elder sister. So my father, for those who are watching who are traditional African, you realize that when a man, has built a house, is doing a little bit well, and you have 3 daughters, the next thing is that they'll be praying that you have a son. So in praying that he should have a son, my father went on the mountain in Ibadan called Orioke or Lonkole to fast and pray, trusting God that God will do a miracle for him to have a son. And Prophet Oshoba, who is a friend of the family at the time, that's the founder of Celestial Church of God, he called my father and said, Joshua, so God told me that you're going to have a son exactly this time next year, but he's going to be a prophet unto the nations. So I have this stigma that follows me since I was born, that my parents will always reiterate that, oh, I'm a prophet unto the nation. But here was I growing up with the gift of music. And that's what that's what I want to do. I wanted to be a Sonny Ade, I don't know if you know Sonny Ade, musician in Nigeria. I just want to play music and play guitar. But I recall another event that I was about 6, 5 or thereabout. My house is like a church. It's a church as well. We have a house that we have a church that can seat almost 1,000 people. We had a prophet, Obadari, in our house for 3 days or so, but I was young. And in one of those days, although this man was blind, in one of those days, he lifted me up and carried me and put me on his laps and said to my parent, he said, God just said to me that my first name from birth was Sunday. My Christian name is Abraham, but I was called Sunday from birth, like Pastor Sunday. He said, Sunday is going to be a prophet unto the nation. So because of that, everyone around the family, no matter what I try to do, they will always remind me that I am a prophet or I am a pastor or a clergy. Now, the third event that happened, trying to clarify exactly who I am, but I like stories, so let me know when it is beginning to bore you, because I have this proclivity and an anointing to sometimes go deep into it. So just let me know. But I was in secondary school and I was about to write my secondary school WAEC, what we call WAEC at the time. And growing up, we have this thing that we do unknowingly. I don't know if it's right. I don't think it's right now, but we pray on everything. So even my WAEC form, I will take it back to my father to bless the WAEC form so that I can pass WAEC, irrespective of either you are reading or not. You just want somebody to pray on it. So I took my WAEC form to my dad to pray on it before I submit, so that I will pass WAEC. And there was this friend of my dad who is also a pastor. Now, my dad worked in NITEL, even though he was a clergy, but he works in the Nigerian telecommunication at the time. And the man looked at my dad, lift up the form, wanted to pray, and the way the CAC kind of church would, and then he just did some things, and he said to my dad, he said, this child that you want to go to school, I saw Agbo Igbala. What that means is, the bell. I have one of it in my office right now. He saw a bell, the bell of Igbala or the bell of salvation, which is the Yoruba kind of bell. Immediately the man voiced that to my dad. He said, that this child that you are sending to school, I saw Agbo Igbala. That means, he said, but there was something that he said there that became so powerful that stayed with me for the rest, up till now. He said, and I saw black people and white people. That was the white people he said there that he added was the only leverage he had for me not working out on him. Because I'd grown up getting sick and prayer had not delivered me from it. I've grown up seeing my father take care of so many families, and yet he's been afflicted by all kinds of spirits, witchcraft, and all kinds of attack on us or on him. So I don't like to be a pastor. My father was one, and they will give him fake prophecies. There are so many things that have misled our family. So for me, I don't want anything to do with being a pastor. I just want to be a musician, or I just want to go to school. I was quite bright in school, so I want to do well. I want to be a petrochemical engineer. But that word was said. To the glory of God, at some point in my teenage years, I discovered God myself. I gave my life to Christ, and I began to know my purpose. And I began to realize that I'm actually called as a messenger of hope to raise a generation of people ready for the coming of Christ. So that establishes it that my primary purpose on earth is as a messenger for God. I'm here to give hope. I'm an agent of glory. So just the same way that Mercedes will have outlet in different countries, in different cities, distributing Mercedes cars, is the same way that I live here on earth, giving hope and representing the Father's glory. So I'm an agent of glory. I deal in hope and I give out glory. Now, if that is in politics, if that is for the church, if that is in business, whatever, I am not caged, I am not limited, I am not constrained. There is no limit on my life. So I influence in political realm, I influence in business, I am established in ministry, I relate with people in the sports world. I just realized that there are several mountains at which I can express myself.
Wow.
I hope that helps.
Yes, I got more than enough information there. Thank you very much. Yes, we got it. So he's saying, as I understand, Pastor Great is saying that what he is an influencer, and in every field that is possible or is of interest to God, he has an interest in it. Is that in a nutshell? Every field that is of interest to God, he has an interest in it. So he's a deliverer, is a what else would I say you are?
That is actually broadening. I would like to keep that.
Okay.
I represent hope and glory. And there are 4 things that I use to deliver to describe my life, which is value. I value Christ, hope, and glory, which means I give out value. So on some of the things that I do, you realize that what I'm simply doing is giving out value. Then when it comes to the church aspect, I preach the message of Christ. So you see my platform in church as a pastor, and then I give hope. Anywhere I am, I just want to be answer to somebody's question. Help somebody to be able to navigate through what they are going through in life. And lastly, I represent the Father's glory. I try to take people from story to glory and take them from glory to glory. Thank you. I hope that is a bit more clear. I can see Sister Deborah Cole there, one of my major ally at the I Sister Deborah Cole. How you doing? Hello to Paul Asupofo, Eshupofo, okay, Oriade, God bless you. Sister Nkiru Ojimadu, God bless you, ma. So painful. I was leaving the venue yesterday. I said we didn't greet before I left. How are you? And Dr. Ojimadu himself, I watched a bit of your speech yesterday. God bless you, sir.
Amen. Thank you, sir. You see, he's actually part of the DSA family, so he recognizes the DSA family on board, so he's saying hello to you guys. But we've got a question. So guys, please send your question if you have any question for him, or I will just ask the question that I want to know. So don't leave it all to me. You have your chance now. We've still got about half an hour, so bring it on. So right now, I have a question from Theophilus Olatumbosun. He's saying that, Pastor Abraham, please, what do you have to say about the practice of Palm Sundays?
I don't know if Palm Sunday is a practice but if you look at it in the context of religion, you said that maybe it's a religious practice. But my take on it is, when is Palm Sunday again?
Today.
Oh, today is Palm Sunday. That's to tell you how disconnected I could be, because although I teach, you know, on Easter, on the resurrection of Christ, I would say that whatever is done to celebrate the life and the resurrection of Christ, you can never go wrong at it. Either it is the correct date, either it's the correct time, but whatever, we cannot do enough. And we cannot overemphasize or put into religion the life and the resurrection of our King, of our Lord, of our personal Savior. So on that premise, I don't look at Palm Sunday, that is the Sunday preceding Easter Sunday. I don't look at it as a religious practice. I just see it as another opportunity given to me to celebrate Jesus, for us to promote Jesus, or to project Jesus to the world. It's another date on the calendar that all focus from around the world can be on Jesus again. What is done in that day, or a procedure or ritual, I'm not into it, but I'm focused on Christ himself once again being celebrated.
So the focus is on Christ. It's not on the ceremony. It's not about religion. The focus is on Christ. So what is done in order to celebrate Christ is fine by Pastor Abraham, if I get that correctly.
That's correct.
Okay, good. We have another question. I know you're not prepared for this question. This is just straight, direct from live. I think people enjoy that. So I hope you don't mind, Pastor Abraham.
Yeah.
There's another one that says, please, Pastor Abraham, do name have any implications in the life of man as a Christian? Name have implications?
I would say yes, emphatic yes. I cannot be more emphatic about this, and I want anyone listening to hear this, because this may change you in a lot of ways. I was saying to the interviewer, Mayowa, just a few minutes ago before we started this interview, when somebody was calling her name too often. Your name is the most frequent word you would ever hear in your entire life. There will be no other word that you will hear more frequently than your name in your entire life. So every single day of your life, your name will be read out to you, will be spoken to you. Now, we understand something. The Bible said that we understand from the book of Hebrew. He said we understand that the world was framed by the words of the Lord, that the words that were spoken. Now, if the words that were spoken framed the world, It means the word that are spoken about me or spoken to me will frame my world, will frame my tomorrow. So the name you bear has a very strong imprint on your life, on the outcome of your life, on the possibilities of your life. Because your name is saying, I don't know if people are still able to see me.
Yeah.
Seems like it's playing up.
Can you see me?
I can see you, but it seems that I'm looking blah 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 blah.
Oh, then. Okay, it's better now.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, so can you see me?
Yes.
I can see. All right, that is fantastic now. So your name is very, very important because your name is like an invocation on your life on a daily basis. So each time people call you, they are invoking a word on you. So if your name is joy,
On you or on themselves as well.
even as well as on themselves, as much as on themselves and as they do. Let me just leave it out as a name. Let's say I use the word wicked all the time. And I just say wicked, 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 bad, bad, bad. Now what you say, at this point, some people will have a religious mind, but I'm going to link it into some things that have been done in Spiritism and what positive-minded people in Buddhism, in so many things will say to you. Words have been connected to energy, invincible, such that the words that I'm saying right now in science are resonance. So my word, you will know about it being echo, or depending on the room that we have. But every sound that we produce, every word that we speak actually resonates. Like, you know the way tennis ball bounces. So that is the same way that when you study physics, when you study science, you realize that your word is bouncing. Now, if the words that are bouncing for me are creating an energy, right? Creating like a wave. Like when you go into by the sea, you see some wave. It's the same way the words that you speak are creating a wave around you. So if the name that you are called comes of your life is a factor, but it does have a very great imprint on the outcomes of your life. So in that case, if you don't like what you are called, you have the permission to change
That
it.
was going to be a question, sir, because I noticed your name. I mean, coming from the background Nigerian, they don't call their children Abraham and then the last name being Great. So this is a really good question because I was going to ask about your name. And you mentioned in the beginning of this program that your name was Sunday as well, like Pastor Sunday. Mm-hmm. So you changed your name. And God sees my heart that I really do want to ask about the name. That's why that question came up about name. So can you answer this question about your name and why you had to change your name? And, let us know.
You're asking for trouble. You are saying briefly, but when it comes to my name, I have no way of explaining it briefly. Okay. And like I warned you before that I have the proclivity to talk. This is one of the areas where because I love stories. I tell stories a lot because my life is a combination of stories. And I can't escape story because stories have made me up. Now, like I was saying to you, I was born as Sunday, Adeshile, Idowu, Abraham, Adebomi, Akintayo. But I give you this. How I came about my name. When I was born, my father had a white colleague that the day I was born, my father said to Jerry, that's one of my names, by the way.
Jerry. That's your father's name, friend's name, Jerry.
Yeah, which I was eventually given as well. But here's what happened. When I was born, my father had a conversation with his cottage friend, Jerry, and he said to him, oh, I've just had a son, and he was very elated. So his friend asked him and said to him, what are you going to call him? What are you going to name him? And he said, I want to name him Oluwatobi. He said, I want to call him Oluwatobi. So the friend asked him, what do you mean by Oluwa? What is the meaning of Oluwatobi? Are you still with me? Yeah. He said, what is the meaning of Oluwatobi? And my dad said, God is great. So Jerry said to him, why don't you call him great? And my father said, no, great is an adjective, not a noun. So I can't call him great. So he never gave me great. He said, but I have a dilemma. The dilemma was this. I already have more than enough name from the day I was born naturally. Number one, in the Yoruba family, when you are born on Sunday, they sometimes call their child Sunday. Number two, my father had finished building a house, and he was to dedicate that house, I think, on the 13th of November of that year. I was born on the 6th of November, meaning that I was born exactly a week before, and there's no MRI scan at the time to be able to know this precise date that somebody will be born. But they had already sent out cards to do party, you know, like when someone finished building a house in Nigeria, they do what we call housewarming. So, meaning that I will be named on they will do the housewarming on Saturday, and I'll be named on Sunday. So for my dad, it was a big deal. So I was given Adeshile, so that's Sunday, Adeshile. Then preceding me were twins. My parents had twins. So naturally, I would be given the name Idowu. That's 3. Now, my mom is from the royal family of Ede, and our first son must have a royal name. So meaning that naturally, I should be given Adewumi. That my grandfather would give me Adewumi. Now, few months before my birth, my dad lost his dad, you know, like a year before my birth. So naturally, I will be called Babatunde. So there were already more than enough names. And on top of that, you know, his mom has to give names, my grandparents had to give names, you know, people would give names. So my father had no space to even put Oluwatobi. So he just called me Great. But I was at the age of 19 and the Lord led me out of Nigeria. And when I went out of Nigeria and I got to my destination, a few days after that, I was praying and the Lord said to me, he said, now that you have obeyed my voice. And he took me to the book of Luke, and I read there, he said, the child shall be great. And each time the Lord kept asking me, he said, do you want to be great or do you want to be Sunday? I could hear this like a vivid, you know, conversation. So in my heart, I said, okay, yes, I'll be great. And then the Lord said to me to change my name to Great. But because I love my father, I love my family so much, what I did was I retained my name and changed my surname to Great Akintayo. My surname was Akintayo. So here is a major part of the story. I called my dad on the phone to say to my dad to do, I need, what do you call it again? Affidavit. So that I can take to the embassy to have a change of name on my passport since I was living in another country. This was in 1997. And my father had never cried with me or cried on me since I was an adult of that age. And my father was crying, sobbing on the phone. I was like, what happened? Daddy, what did I say? What did I do? Didn't you like the fact that I'm changing my name? I'm willing to hear you. And here was what my father said. He didn't tell me why he cried. He just said to me that he was going to send me his Bible. That when I receive it, I should call him back. May 1997. So I waited and I received my father's Bible. And I called him, he said, open to so page. And there I read all the names that my father was to give me, and Great was among them. Wow. So my father was crying that because he had never had that conversation with anybody on earth, apart from that friend and my mom. But here was I, a 20-year-old or 19-year plus, hearing the voice of God that my name is Great. My father felt he missed out on what God was doing, 20 years earlier. And that was why it was, it was crying And this is how I came about. But in 2003, you wanted this, so I'm going to have to go into... In 2003, I was about to get...
Sir, we have 20 more questions for you. So, we can... Yes.
Let me... I cannot...
I'm interested in to see this to the end.
Yeah, if that is the only question that I answer here, it will make a lot of sense to me, because there is no question people ask me more in my life than this question you have just asked.
So you can just send them to this video.
Exactly.
It will be available on YouTube and this.
Exactly. And sometimes it becomes insulting because people just think you are at random. You just pick something that you like and you're just on. And if you don't pay attention to somebody's story, you cannot explain their glory. Because a lot of time we misjudge people and we misinterpret people because we don't know them. And now, in 2003, there is, maybe I've seen one person in this platform that, remember at that time I was Great Akintayo, and I was about to go and get married from London to Nigeria. And I was having a prayer session with a friend of mine in Holborn in London. And as I was there, God said to me, he said, call your wife. Would she rather be Mrs. Great or Mrs. Great Akintayo? He said, because I did not call you to be the greatest of the Akintayos. I'm starting a new lineage from you. So I called Queen in Nigeria. Then I said, would you rather be Mrs. Great or Mrs. Great Akintayo? He said, oh, Great, of course. The next day I went to Backing, met with a lawyer, and I had a name change again, dropped the Akintayo in front of my name, and since that time my surname has been Great, as the Lord has said to me from the beginning. So today you look at me, I'm Mr. Great or Pastor Great. My wife is Mrs. Great. My children, Darren Great, and what have you. But that is the genesis of the whole great name.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. That is, guys. So, name has significance, and Pastor Abraham Great was given this name by God to change his initial name, or his birth name, should I say, to Abraham Great. I know a lot of people have questions about name change and they worry about it, or they want to change their name but they don't want to. They don't feel at ease to do it. They want to, but they don't feel at ease. So here is a story. If you have the conviction and you want to change your name, here's a good story that actually impacted me, and I'm sure that you will find some wisdom in that. So I'm glad that you shared that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have another question. I have a question before this, but I thought I should ask you this. What are the main qualities you like in Pastor Sunday? What do you value the most and why? Okay.
The number one thing that I could say that I like about Pastor Sunday is his energy. Pastor Sunday have what has been described to me by a great man, a mercurious energy. And how do I mean energy? Is that maybe many more people has the kind of vision that Pastor Sunday has, but they don't have the energy to pursue it, the strength. So for example, Mayowa, I think you are here, that you guys were on with Pastor Sunday throughout the night up till maybe 1 or 2 a.m. We're still having, conversation. He's still teaching, he's still giving advices. And then by the time I will be waking up, I'm still seeing him. He's already in another session with other people. And he's done some other things. And right now he's ready for another session. And now that is day in, day out, week in, week out, month on month, and every single year. And he does that until he collapses, go and rest again, start again. What an incredible man. I love that energy. The number two thing that I love about him is his depth of insight. That he had so much developed himself, that he knows so much, that even he himself will sometimes think that there is sorrow in knowledge. So
Right.
I can say maybe those two things.
Absolutely. So the two things is his energy and...
There are more, but I'm always cognitive of the fact that you want me to be as brief as possible.
No, I think, right, I've got another question. Well, so have you finished, or do you want to share more? If you want to share more, you can.
Let's do with the two. But don't tell Pastor Sunday that I only find 2 things good about him. I have a lot of things, but let's move on to the next question.
Okay. So it is energy and
Insight.
insight.
Level of
Wisdom.
insight. Wisdom, yes.
Okay. I general consensus among all of us. You know, we know his energy, and if we ask him a question, he will give us 100% answer. He doesn't do anything halfway. And
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
If you want to, it will also be the fact that Pastor Sunday is available. You see, between a relationship between a mentee and mentor, or protege and mentor, requires availability. And there are people that mentors us via books, via platforms and stuff. But there is this thing about Pastor Sunday, that he is available. He is not just available, he's approachable. You can, I mean, once you meet him, you are the only person, you will think that you are the only persons that he knows or that he is. And then he has thousands of people like that. But it will never be tired of you. It will never relent. It will never give up on you. I think that is a very strange quality.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I've got another question by Danielle. It's saying, Pastor Great, some of us can't speak in tongue, but does it mean we are second-class born again, or are we truly born again? That's an interesting. I need to know the answer to that question.
Speaking in tongues does not classify our strength of being born again or not. You are not a weaker Christian, or you are not weaker in heaven, the fact that you are speaking in tongue or not. Every one of us speaks in tongue. You know, everything that you say outside of your natural languages, it is speaking in tongues. Including, for example, now, I will tell you to sing a song. I'm releasing an album soon. And one of the tracks on that album is Mampe, Mama, Mama, Mampele, Mama, Pomporibo, Mama, Pele, Mama, Pomporibo. Some time ago, somebody wrote a song. Wombolombo, 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 Wombolombo. I think from Africa. Now, many people, even white people, were singing Wombolombo, 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 Wombolombo. You don't know what Wombolombo, Wombolombo. You are speaking in tongues. Okay. Now, on the platform that I speak, or that we pray in the Spirit, I've explained this. That, let me shock you with this. God gave me a revelation of recent, that it is not only those who are born again that have the capacity to speak in tongue. Because when babies are born, what language do they speak? When your child was born and the child began to call, what was that child speaking? They were speaking in tongues. But maybe the question is talking about praying in the Spirit. Not everybody can pray in the Spirit, but anybody. I don't need to lay hands on you before you start speaking in tongue. Because God has given you the tongue. God gave tongue, man created languages. So the languages that we speak today is hindering our mind to believe in the capacity to be able to pray in tongue. But when you do the research, you realize that it's not only Christianity where people are praying in tongue. In other religions, in some religion, to do their ritual also, they also invoke by making some sound that does not have a language. So they say, but it's not a language. This is because they understand that you need to boycott language many of the time to access the spirit realm. And this is what we do, that every believer should desire to pray in the Spirit, not just in tongue, but praying in tongue is sometimes a vehicle to connecting with the Spirit. There's no big deal about praying in tongues. We have doctrine, we turn it into doctrine, and it's become an argument, and because of that, it's become an impediment that is hiding many people, because people think that you must feel until you feel a certain sensation, you can't pray in tongues. But even a non-believer, don't you even see in the Bible that God was trying to speak to a prophet? He could not speak, and God opened the mouth of a donkey, and a donkey spoke the language that the man could hear. Your tongue is yours. pronounce any sound that comes out of it. He's gifted. So as you are here right now, when you open your mouth, forget every language you know and just say anything. We have said we've written a song that's praying in tongue. They don't let us make it too much of a big deal. But praying in the spirit is a different story.
This is the funniest answer. Guys, this is really funny. You know, I'm a conventional presenter. That's funny. I think I had dog in Nigeria, in Yoruba. That's really funny. Hello, guys. I hope you've shared this. This is really funny. Pastor Abraham Great is something else. But I enjoyed every minute of this. Please share, guys. We still got a few minutes, so we can still have some questions. We have a question, sir. Do you have a charity, and which one, and why do you choose it? I didn't know that you have a charity.
Okay. Well,
I'm suspicious of this question.
I have two charities. One is Greater Works. And Greater Works is the umbrella charity for most of what we do in the UK. So we have Greater Works that anchors the church and many of the things that I do. Then we have another charity that is the church. It Lives Bible Church. So if you want to know, Greater Works is simply the umbrella. So if I do businesses, I do publishing, I do church, I do straight record, like you, Mr. Deborah called, you know, I have 7, 8 different businesses in the UK. The church being one of them. Greater Works is the umbrella charity that houses all of them. And now I may be having a third charity, which is the Abraham Great Limited, or Abraham Great itself, that now sits on top of Greater Works. But at the moment, Abraham Great is limited by shares, but eventually is going to become more like a charity or a trust itself. And why this is not something that I can explain in a few minutes of answering the question. When you begin to grow things, you begin to gain more knowledge of how things should be structured. And then you begin to have mentors, you begin to have leaders who have gone ahead of you, who have done things. The best way to preserve your life and to preserve your vision, your giftings, your businesses, your brainchild or children, what you invent, is there are 3 aspects of it that you must take care of. Number 1 is the primary, which is the vision, the revelation, the ideas. That's primary. The number 2 is the secondary things, like your accounting, like your the building you use. The number 3 things, this is where this is. They are tertiary things. They are things like, should I make this in a charity? Should I make it limited by guarantee? Should I make it limited by partnership? And depending on where you started from, what you started, you'll be understanding how to structure those things. Going back to it, I have 2 charities at the moment, and one of them is an umbrella to everything else that we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. You said something earlier that you wanted to sing. So I thought at the end of this, you would give us an outro with singing, because I know that you're really passionate about singing, and why not? He's in front of me, guys. I realized I'm pulling my neck up to talk to him when I should be looking in the camera. I'm sorry. I should have been looking at you guys. Yeah. So I would love if you would if you would give us an outro with your song, with one of your songs. And also, before we go, is there anything else you would like to share with us?
I'd just like to say thank you, Maya, for this platform. I'm very proud of you. You're gorgeous, beautiful, elated. You know, I'm sure everybody watching can count your teeth. That's one of the most important things that we want to know about the broadcasters, if they have teeth. And I can see that you are like most, people out there, journalists who have to make up. I can see you raw. You have some makeup, but I think you are real. I can touch. You're beautiful. You're intelligent. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so give us an outro before you go.
Well, I'm gonna make you ask, or the audience ask. There are some people there that knows me. Which of my songs do you want me to sing?
Oh, good. This is really fantastic, guys.
Which song?
We do here, guys. You have been given the option. Which song would you like Pastor Abraham's great to sing? Come on, guys. This is your chance. Yes, my words. Oh, thank you, Deborah Cole. So what would you like? What would you like? What would you like? What song would you like? You've been given the authority, the right to pick a song. So if you know Pastor Abraham great already, which song do you like that you would like him to sing? So you've got a few seconds, and if we don't get any... Mampe, is there a song called Mampe?
Mampe, I have an album coming out.
Okay.
My wife and I. But Mampe is a bit more of...
Thank you.
Everybody will have to. You know what we'll do with Mampe?
Yeah.
Can I have everybody that is available come and sing with me?
Guys, come on, Mampe. Let's go, Mampe. Okay.
Teach in a few minutes, and those who are watching, the album just keep praying for us. We're working, is a very big project. So I'm going to teach you first, and then those who are watching outside, they are going to join. I'm going to say, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye people. And your response will be, Mampe. Let's try and change the key. Mampe, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye people. Mampe, mampele, pomporibo, mampele, pomporibo. Can you do it? Can we try it? Watch. I say, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. So we go this way. I say, make a joyful noise unto.
Come on, guys, we're gonna dance.
For noise unto the Lord, all ye people. Mampe, mampele, pomporibo, mampele, pomporibo. Yeah, you will get it. You will get it.
Let's go.
They have requested for that. We gotta do it.
Okay.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye people. Mampe, mampele, pomporibo, mampele, pomporibo. One more time.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, go. Mampe, mampele, pomporibo, mampele, pomporibo,
Mama popo.
Pomporibo, unto the Lord, sing out the song. No, don't say pomporibo, pomporibo, lift up your head, all ye gates, be lifted up, every everlasting door. Pomporibo,
Wow. Thank you so much. This is first class pomporibo. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That was fun. So you guys, you can sing any song you like too. You can just say yanga yanga. That was a beautiful song. What does the word? I love it. That is fantastic. What does pomporimbo means? What does it mean? So what does it mean? What does
I was praying in the spirit, and that sound dealt from my spirit from heaven.
Okay.
And I never knew what it means, and I was asking God severally, what is this pomporibo I keep saying means? It drops into my spirit from the realm of the spirit, and he said to me, it means joyful noise. Said,
joyful noise.
Joyful noise. That is the voice.
Is that in
from
any
heaven.
language?
That is just
Joyful noise.
It's a sound that I'm inventing from the spirit. Just the same way somebody will invent a phone.
Yes.
And you call it Apple.
Yeah.
It's the same way somebody can invent a sound.
Wow.
That is how English was created. Spanish were created. Somebody turned a sound into a language. So right now, when people ask, what is pomporibo, we say joyful noise. And at some point, we'll be able to put pomporibo into the dictionary. Woo! That has been invented to mean joyful noise.
Wow, wow. That is fantastic. Just on the hour. That's fantastic. You know, what is great about this last statement is that you are a creator, you know, and we are all creators. All words was created by somebody, so you can also create what you want. He's just created a word that would be going into the dictionary. Sooner or later, you can make it popular. You are a creator. So it's been fantastic, guys, today. I absolutely enjoyed myself. You know, I love laughing, and I laughed today. Pastor Abraham Great was great. Hey, did you see what I did there? Pastor Abraham Great was great. So I had a good time, guys. I always have a good time with you. Thank you so much for joining us. If I will come back today, I will let you know. You will see my notification as usual. I will try. If there's anything happening, I will. But there's always something happening here till really, really late. So, but if something is happening that is of interest to you, I will knock on your door again, your Facebook door. So check it, listen out for your Facebook door. And if you see Dr. Sunday Adelaja, then you know it's probably Mayowa or one of the presenters, or is Dr. Sunday Adelaja himself fellowshipping with us. Guys, I've got good news for you. Caroline will also be broadcasting regularly. So please welcome her when she does come on. She'll be coming regularly. I will be going away soon. But even when I'm away, I'm still going to be joining you. So guys, remember to join us on YouTube, which is Sunday Adelaja Official. You would have a playlist of different titles that Dr. Sunday Adelaja have treated, or even guest of Dr. Sunday Adelaja. This is going to go on YouTube, so we're going to upload it on YouTube later. So check it out and share with others. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Pastor Abraham Grace appreciates you. So I'm going to turn the camera to him to say goodbye. This is my goodbye. Mwah.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you once again for joining in. For those of you who join me 6 a.m. For prayer, you know what, these days I come a few minutes late. Just wait for me. We're going to be there maybe 6 a.m. or a few minutes past 6. Achievers Forum and the rest of them will continue. A shout out, Sister Ufoma. Nice meeting you eventually here yesterday. That was such a joy. Sister Deborah Cole, Olayinka Shemwadeyemo, Chinwe, Ananaba, God bless Brother Daniel Atsenga, Theophilus Mayowa, Anthony, Idara Nwafor, Curtis, Anthony Simpson, Julie Ngoya, bonjour myself, vous allez bien? Chinwe, and everybody out there. No, Mayowa is trying to turn off the channel right now to the next channel. So the rest of you, Sister Dali Madu, I have to 1 second. Let's quickly do it. Olayinka, Olayemi Success, Falade. Love to you all. God bless you. See you next time.
Thank you all. Bye.